Do you want to build an excellent credit score? Are you an IMG wondering what does that even mean? How long will it take and exactly what do you need to get there? My name is Sisi and I'm a Ugandan medical doctor working in the UK. My excellent score recently just became excellent, from poor, which is the worst, to now the best. It wasn't always like that, and I'm going to share exactly what I did to get it that way. It's a relatively simple process, and it took me ages only because I honestly took a long time to start the process. When I first arrived, I didn't think I was going to be here for that long, so I didn't really care about anything like that. But I highly advise that once you arrive in the UK, just start doing all these things to build your credit score, because even though you live there, you've done no harm, and if you end up needing it, then the better. A credit score is a number that is calculated to show how good you are with your money. Basically, it's a number that shows that once you've been lent money, then you're able to pay it back on time. It shows how responsible you are, and lenders can use it to see if you'll be someone that would be worried about lending money to or not. So you might wonder, why would I need a credit score? So you probably don't need a credit score if you're not going to get any credit, because the point of getting a credit score is so you can get credit. However, to get a credit score, you also need to get credit. So the biggest reason why a credit score is going to be needed is if you plan to get a mortgage. So this is like the biggest debt that you're going to get in your life, and usually they need you to have a good credit score. So if you've never borrowed money, you might think that you have a good credit score, but actually you don't. That's what I thought at first. And in fact, if you have never borrowed money at all, then your credit score is likely to be poor as well, because lenders want to see that you've ever borrowed something and you've paid it back on time. So without borrowing, then you can't actually build a credit score. It's a bit of a catch-22. Credit scores sadly do not cross borders when you come into the country. So if you're from a country where they had credit score systems, then actually you can't just use that. So once you arrive in the country, then it's completely starting afresh. I'm going to share 10 tips that helped me to build my credit score. The first tip is to get a credit card. So there are a few credit companies that don't mind giving you a credit card even without a good credit history, or even when you just arrived in the country. And some of these include Capital One and Aqua. They usually have a very high interest rate, like 35%, and that's because obviously they don't know what you're like. They don't know if you're going to pay them back on time, so they give you a very high interest rate. But I would take one of these cards. That's what I did, and over time it helps to build your credit score. My second tip is to always make sure you don't use a lot of credit. So if you have a credit card, try not to use more than 25% of the credit limit, and make sure you pay it back on time every single time. And if you pay back exactly the amount of money that you've used, then you're going to be able to use the card and not actually pay off any interest, because the interest can be really high. My third tip is to get something on contract. So for instance, if you get a phone bill, your Wi-Fi, or even a phone, there are phones that you can get on contract. So that shows that you're able to pay off something on time. So for the first year and a half that I was here, guys, I was on giffgaff. So giffgaff is one of those companies that give you a SIM only, not actually a contract. You don't have to pay back every month, so you can just stop paying if you don't want. But I eventually switched to another company because of the reason of trying to build my credit score. So I got a phone on contract and then had to pay back every month. Open a bank account. Having a bank account shows lenders that you're good with your money. If you have an overdraft, make sure you don't use more than 25% of it. If you're finding this video helpful up to this point, please give it a like. That really helps it spread to more people and supports my channel as well, if you'd like me to keep making more videos like this. Thank you. Number 5 is to pay all your bills in full. In some way, they actually have access to all this. If you don't pay your bills, or if you make a mistake and maybe you don't pay your bill for some reason, then they're going to report you to the credit referencing agencies, and somehow they'll get to know. So make sure you pay all your bills on full. Ideally, put them on direct debit so that you don't have to think about it and you don't have anything like accidentally missing payments. Number 6 is to register to vote. So very interestingly is that if you're from a Commonwealth country like Uganda, then you are eligible to vote in UK elections. So make sure you register to vote as soon as you arrive. I did not do this because, as I said, I did not think I was going to be here for all that time. I thought I was going to just come, do my masters and go, and I had my other plans. But anyway, I ended up staying. So basically, just register to vote as soon as you arrive, because being on the electoral register really helps improving your credit score. The longer you're on, then the better. Why then do we need visas if it's our Commonwealth? Comment below if you agree. Number 7 is register with a credit referencing agency and check your report regularly. There are 3 main credit referencing agencies in the UK. Those are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. These have all your details, and make sure you check and see that they have everything correctly, because sometimes they might have something like maybe you have a missed payment, or they have the wrong address, or they have something that might be affecting your credit score negatively, and you can always check and correct them if it's wrong. My next tip is to avoid changing your address frequently. So obviously, if you need to change your address, then change your address. It's not that serious. I personally changed my address like 4 times in the first year of being in the UK for various reasons, and From the time I stayed in one address for 3 years. So when I made it to 3 years is when I got my email saying that my credit score was now excellent. So I don't know if that contributed, but I think it did. And I think the magic number is 3 years. Number 9 is it's going to take time. So related to this, it's just going to take time. There are going to be times when you check your credit score and it just says, so for instance, I will check my credit score and they will tell me, the reason holding me back is that I haven't been on the electoral register for long. I haven't been on one address for long. So sometimes, even when you're doing everything, you've got a contract and you're paying it on time, you're doing everything on time, it just takes time. So like I said, for me, after 3 years of being in one address for a long time, being on the electoral register, that's when I got the email. So it's just going to take time to build an excellent credit score. It might be good. So for me, it was good much earlier, maybe after a year or 1.5 years, but then to reach excellent was after the 3 years. And tip number 10 is to get an instant boost. So have a look and see at some companies like Experian offer you an instant boost. Check and see if you fulfill their eligibility criteria, and that way you can just get an instant boost in your credit score. The higher your credit score, the better your chances of getting a good mortgage with good rates. If you're wondering how to buy a house in the UK, then watch this video.